Hello, and thank you for watching today's Canada Regional Forecast. I'm meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with Nutrien Ag Solutions. I want to remind you one more time, we did give a revamp to the Nutrien Ag Solutions weather story landing page, just in case you're watching these videos on YouTube or you're trying to find them by chance on social media. Go to nutrienagsolutions.com, set up an account. It takes about 30 seconds and it's free. You just need an email address and a password, and then you can get this content 5 days a week. Eric and I are putting out new forecasts Monday through Friday, and if you're just finding these randomly on YouTube, you're doing it wrong. Get an account there and start finding these things every day. When we look at the jet stream here on Monday morning, we've got a really strong a really strong flow in the Gulf of Alaska, and this is going to be pushing ashore, bringing in a pattern change over the next few days here across the Canadian Prairie. As we look at what it's going to look like on Thursday morning, then across the region, strong northwesterly flow. And this is an almost winter-like pattern that's going to be bringing in some much cooler air, the chance for the first frost, and for some folks to see the first snowflakes of the season as we get into the later part of this week, into the weekend, and then early next week. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's look at the temperature and precipitation outlook for the next 5 to 7 days. So you look at the temperature forecast over on the left side. We're visualizing the transition here. You know, we're seeing some of the warmer temperatures holding on to the east, some of the cooler temperatures moving in over here to the west, and then seeing kind of near average conditions across a big chunk of the primary growing region here of the Canadian Prairie. And the reason for that is some warmth early on, followed by the cold air coming in. So over the next 5 days, we do average out to about average, but it really is front loaded here with the warmth at the beginning of the week and then cooler temperatures really taking over in a big way as we head into the weekend and beyond. The precipitation outlook over on the right, we're looking for some fairly good increased precipitation opportunities, mostly in the high elevation areas here of southern British Columbia into southern Alberta, but parts of the southern prairie there in Alberta picking up on some precipitation here as we head through the next week. Also looking at a corridor of perhaps some increased precipitation opportunities across southern portions of Saskatchewan into Manitoba as well. Precipitation chance is going to be rather scattered in nature, hit or miss, and no real corridors of significant precipitation like we saw across southern Manitoba over the last 7 to 10 days. So we wake up and look at the satellite picture here across southern Alberta, or southern Saskatchewan into southern Manitoba, waking up to a gorgeous morning here, plenty of sunshine. We see this next wave coming ashore, though, off to the west and moving up and over the top of the mountains here, getting some cloud cover and some precipitation across portions of Alberta early this morning. We see those showers showing up here on the Canadian Prairie radar image here. Again, across a big chunk of Alberta here, waking up to maybe some hit or miss raindrops falling from the sky today, but a very pleasant morning as you head off to the east towards southern Saskatchewan into southern Manitoba. So where are we headed? Here's the dividing pattern right now, where we've got this trough coming in from the west, the ridge in the east allowing warmth to kind of hang on toward the east with those cooler temperatures coming in from the west. We'll go ahead and animate this then for the next few days just so I can kind of help you show what is bringing in this pattern change. We watch this trough begin to kind of just deepen as we head into the later part of the week, and then especially as we get into the weekend. Seeing this pattern here by the time we get to this is Monday, a week from today. Seeing this very deep trough across the west, and then this ridge across the east. This keeps the eastern half of the U.S. very warm. It's not going to feel like spring, It's not going to feel like autumn here in the Corn Belt for at least another couple of weeks here as we deal with a very warm pattern here. But on the flip side, a lot of that warm air being forced northward, it's also dragging down some cold air that's going to be impacting the Canadian Prairie here. So a pattern that has me sending mixed signals between the Corn Belt and the Canadian Prairie here over the next week or so. A cool pattern shaping up here across the Canadian Prairie. We'll go ahead and take a look at the precipitation forecast here and show you we're watching this first wave that's bringing the light rain showers to high elevation areas here and then parts of Alberta here early Monday morning. This is going to kind of quickly lift north through the region over the next 24 hours. You watch this kind of organize. Here you see that center of low pressure just sweeping off to the north, making its way into northern Saskatchewan, northern Manitoba by the time we get to this evening. So a quick moving system here and quickly lifting north through the region. On the backside, though, we do see the opportunity for some showers lingering through the day Tuesday into Wednesday. Our next more organized storm system kind of dives through the region around the early Thursday into Friday time frame. It kind of moves like a clipper would here, but before swinging off to the east, you see it kind of follow that track right there, bringing some precipitation to southern Manitoba by the time we get to the end of the week. Now you're starting to see some blues show up, and that is because of this cooler air starting to filter into the region, seeing mostly high pressure dominate the region here as we head through the weekend. Really just going to be looking at some cooler temperatures, the first opportunities for some frost, before we watch potentially another storm system kind of come swinging through here. This is getting out into an area where we've got kind of low confidence getting into next week now with the exact track here, but certainly the opportunity for enough colder air to come on the backside here. Maybe seeing some flurries on the north edge of this storm system wherever it tracks. So we'll leave the details of next weekend out of here for now, but just understand that, we've got light opportunities for some scattered precipitation, but no real corridors of significant precipitation as we head through the next week or so. The next 7 days of precipitation here shown on the left, or the next 5 days, I'm sorry, this is through 7 p.m. on Friday, and we've got this contoured. It's shown in inches, but we've got a line drawn, kind of a faint little outline where you've got 25 millimeters of precipitation or more, seeing the best chance for that across parts of eastern or western and central Alberta, and then this corridor here across southern Saskatchewan into southern Manitoba. Elsewhere, really scattered, isolated in nature here, so not talking about a significant rainfall threat over the next week. It's really the big story is the transition here that we're going to see with our temperature anomalies. Right now, starting off on Monday, still dealing with the warmer temperatures to the east as we wake up on Monday morning, the cooler temperatures beginning to come in here from the west. And we'll just go ahead and I'm going to play this out for you as we head into the next 10 days or so, really seeing those blues and greens and then purples begin to lock themselves in. And those purples over here, that is 10 to 15 degrees Celsius below average. So we're talking about definitely the potential for some below freezing temperatures as we head into the weekend and early next week across the Canadian Prairie. And that means the chance for some frost. This is our frost probability forecast. And the darker the color, you can kind of follow along with the chart down here at the bottom. If I move the cursor there, but the darker shades of blue over here on the right where we have the higher probability of frost, and then the lighter colors where there's the lower probability. So we'll go ahead, we'll take this through the next week, playing it out and then stopping as we get to, here's Wednesday, and then it's as we get into the late part of the week now, Friday, perhaps seeing the chance for some frost across northern portions of the prairie. But then as we get into Saturday morning, looking like a pretty high risk of the first frost making its way across certainly northern portions of the prairie, but seeing the probability here begin to tick up even across the southern prairie, getting close to the U.S. border. Same story holds true for Sunday morning, and then getting into Monday morning, this cold air really locks itself in. So it really begins Friday across northern areas, but then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, really looking like a significant chance for the first frost of the year across the Canadian Prairie. Total precipitation forecast across Alberta for the next 5 days, taking us through Friday. Again, seeing the highest chance for more significant precipitation getting north of 25 millimeters in the higher elevations here across British Columbia, and then far western Alberta. Elsewhere across the prairie, though, really talking anywhere between 5 to 20 millimeters of precipitation, isolated, scattered across the area. So not looking at a completely dry week, but not talking about any focused areas of significant precipitation over the next 5 days. The high temperature today in the lower 20s off to the south, trending up to the mid-teens in the north. Your overnight low Monday night into Tuesday morning, dropping into the single digits elsewhere, but just above 10 degrees here off to the far south. The high temperature tomorrow for Tuesday, again near 20 to the south with the mid-teens off to the north. Your overnight low Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, dropping into the single digits across the entire Canadian Prairie, and this just continues to drop as we head into the later part of the week. Your high temperatures on Wednesday still in the mid to upper teens across the southern portions here, with closer to 11 or 12 degrees Celsius across the remainder of the prairie in Alberta. The precipitation forecast here across Saskatchewan and Manitoba, that blob that you're seeing off to the top, this is that first system that comes swinging through here Monday into early Tuesday. Maybe some light showers across the southern prairie here as we head through Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning, and then still seeing opportunities for some lighter precipitation across the region with a heavier swath possible late week with a storm system tracking off to the south. So again, same story, looking at anywhere, a smattering of 10 to 20 millimeters is about the highest amount I would expect across the southern portions of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And then as you head off to the north, a corridor here that really probably gets largely missed, maybe a very light opportunity for a couple showers over the next 5 days with more significant precipitation well off to the north of the Prairie here, where 50 to 70 millimeters of precipitation will be possible across northern Saskatchewan into northern Manitoba. The temperature forecast here for the next 3 days, your high temperatures today near 20 to the lower 20s across a big chunk of southern Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Your overnight lows still in the lower teens with maybe an upper single digit across southern Saskatchewan. As we head into the day on Tuesday, really starting to see some of the cooler air starting to push south into the region. So from near 20 degrees to the south to the single digits in the north. Your overnight lows Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, single digits beginning to be widespread everywhere except southern Manitoba, holding on to maybe 10 degrees as we wake up on Wednesday morning. And then your high temperature in the mid-teens still beginning to fall, and then it really begins to plummet as we head into the weekend, looking at overnight low temperatures near or below zero as we head into the weekend and next week. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning ag forecast video. And to remind you, we did change the schedule on the Canadian Prairie forecast, now coming out Monday, Wednesday, Friday instead of Tuesday and Friday. Remember, go to nutrienagsolutions.com, set up a free account, and don't miss out on anything. Have a great day and a wonderful start to your week.